Hello, thank you for being here. We are very happy to share with you some experience and knowledge. Um, who we are, I'm Gustavo Tadao, and
Lucas Morelato.
we are from Picpay. Picpay is a digital bank in Brazil. Maybe you heard about other digital banks here, right? Other sessions. Just to give you some context, in Brazil, we have it. So, in average, each person has 5 bank accounts. So this is why uh, we have many banks here. So PicPay is a digital bank. We are dedicated to simplify the financial life of our customers, providing them the right product, the right time, the right pricing, right? So the main channel is our app. We use a lot of data technology to provide this best experience to them. Some points about us: we we started this business in 2012, implemented the instant payment person to person. So it's an innovation at that time. People send money to each other directly. Then we evolve, providing a very personalized experience through our app. Just to give an idea, we have more than almost 1 million of possibilities of home page with all the recommendation, all the change, the product you can provide through there. Have 1 million of possibilities of combination of screen, and we are known we're recognized by Brazilians uh, as reference in open finance, and also using generative AI in our app to provide this service. About us, we have more than 6 million clients with an increase of 18% year over year. Uh, I don't know if everyone here knows about Pix. Pix is an instant payment in Brazil, right? We have more than 11% of Pix happening in Brazil has at least in one edge, in one point, on the Picpay account. So it's amazing for us. And we have more than almost $15 billion of cash in. We changed ourselves in, let's say, last year to be a financial AI company, thinking AI first, right? And in the last year, 2014, we're very happy to be recognized as the best digital bank in a popular vote in Brazil. So we are very proud of that.
Test, can you hear me? Oh, awesome. So thanks. I'm pretty happy to be here and so proud to represent Picpay. So let's talk about some challenges and solutions we have faced in our data governance environment. As Gustavo Tadao just introduced Picpay, we have uh, we have a lot of products and features available to our users so they can use in our environment. So our users can, for example, from digital wallets, deposit and withdraw our money. They have the possibility to use credit products from credit card, investment solutions, marketplace, and even a message system where users can communicate to each other. And all of these generate data in our environment. And it's not only financial data. Even the user interacting with us generate valuable information in our environment. So let's take an example. Imagine using, downloading an application, creating an account, browsing through so many different types of screens that we have regarding our products, and maybe depositing some money, paying some bill, closing the app and returning later to ask some help in our AI assistant. Each step generates data in our environment. User registration detail, financial transaction data, even the user interaction logs. So imagine millions of users doing this every single day. So these generate a massive data ecosystem in our environment. So I'd like to start to say a little bit of big numbers regarding of our data lake. Our data lake currently processes over 95 terabytes of data every single month. We process raw data, analytical data, clean data, aggregated data with ready tables already to be used by our users, both in a batch mode or streaming mode. Depends on the use case of the business. All of these data, which is not only financial user-related data, by the way, we process all the information that is relevant to our business, but all of these data is represented by over 18,000 catalog tables in our environment. And these tables are being used by our users. Inside of Picpay, we have over 2,500 users actively using our data in our environment. Some of them is using some data regarding some pre-built analytics and dashboards, but actually many of them are creating something. Create a new table, create a new model, AI, query, and so on. And sometimes they are directly integrating and serving these results to our application. For example, in the time of a transactions, we have some models scoring some real-time decisions to our users. Most of these users are interacting with data using Databricks environment, which is like 2,300 users in our environment. So they are using dashboards, SQL, notebooks, and so on inside of Databricks environment. We know it's a lot of data, it's a lot of interaction using our information, but these reflects Picpay culture in our environment. Picpay always had a strong strong strategy, to quickly accelerate the business of our company to deliver new features, new products to our users. And we as a data platform team should always be aligned with that. So for example, we couldn't just apply some traditional data governance strategy in our environment applied by some large and well-established companies in Brazil, because doing the company strategy that we have, this fast-paced strategy, doing so will probably have slowed down our momentum at Picpay. So over the years, we have done some decisions to support this rapid pace of Picpay, growth pace, and now we are facing some real data governance challenges because of those decisions. Let's go over this challenge. Back to the very beginning of our first version of our data lake, it was like 6 years ago, we created and implemented our first version of our data lake. It was a common data lake, extract as is data from the source, cleaning data by applying some classifications and some standards, and delivering analytical and aggregated tables to our users. And to govern this flow, we started creating data governance features on it. So for example, to support this fast-paced growth strategy of Picpay that I said before, we started, as I can say, our first data governance feature, classifying data. So the idea was to classify all the data inside of our data lake, and any data classified as public data in our environment could be accessed by anyone by default. So the idea was to give easier access to our users so they could deliver faster value to our business. And even after that, we started creating a lot of data governance features to even support more this strategy of Picpay business. For example, we created a catalog with the metadata descriptions of our data objects, tables, models, metrics, and even with some search features to even support that our users could find and discover new data in our environment. And after that, many other data governance features, quality requirements, data lineage, compliance and regulatory requirements, and many other data governance features we apply to this first version of our data lake. However, over the years, we felt the necessity to deliver new ways of data to Picpay. So the business needs evolved over this time. And we started creating new data flows in our environment. For example, to address the necessity of giving more autonomy to our users that weren't actually data engineer skill, led us to create a self-serve platform to them. To unlock new real-time analytics to our users regarding our customers, led us to create an events tracking-based platform. So we started creating new data platforms, new data flows, and this was the time that scaling all of our data governance features that I said before became hard. This became hard because metadata management, data access control, data classifications, all of our data governance features had to be replicated across each new data platform that we created before. And this replication wasn't that easy. It wasn't just plug and play. We needed to consider each data platform particularities to do this replication. And even after replicated each data governance feature, we had a strong difficult to maintain this because any fix, any change, any improvement had to be done multiple times in our environment. So we had a problem regarding escalation of data governance strategy in our environment. And we noticed that if we didn't fix this, it will probably limit our growth and the data value at Picpay. So our goal became pretty clear here: centralize data governance in our environment. And that's why we decided to use Unity Catalog. We decided to focus our data governance strategy around catalog tables. That means if a table is cataloged in our environment, it can be considered governed at a certain level. This was pretty good for us because we now have a central point to say what is and what isn't governed. That were questions pretty asked for us in our data governance team. And also because we have a central point to apply all of those data governance features that I said before. And we decided to use Unity Catalog because it matches perfectly with our needs regarding the main data management fields and areas that we needed most. So the first one is regarding data access control. So Databricks with external location, access layer, has a central point, a single place to manage data access in our environment. So even though all of our data classified as internal public, as I said before, doesn't have the necessity to request, approve, and deliberating access, we still had a process for sensitive data. So the users need to request, our privacy team needs to approve, and we have this process, and we saw a big opportunity using Unity Catalog to do this in a centralized way. And also, we are going to change a little bit how we're going to work with this public data. So we are going to work like a more marketplace, I'm going to say a little bit later. And Unity Catalog would unlock this for us. Second, regarding data lineage. Data lineage became a pretty important prerequisite inside of our data governance team. Not only to our data platform team, because we are using data lineage in some of our process. For example, we have a system that purge unused data automatically based on usability of the data. So we need to check the data lineage before purge the data. But also to our users. They use data lineage to understand a little bit more about upstreams and downstream dependencies in our environment. So extract this information from the unit will be perfect for us because most of our processes are running inside of Databricks. And lastly, its native AI integration inside of Databricks, Genie, and other features regarding AI will be perfect for us because we are starting using more AI in our environment. Not only to our data users to deliver the intelligence assist and so on, but also to us to help our data governance team in our daily process. All of these features of Unity Catalog helped us, but they also unlock our next data governance strategy that I said before. We are going to work in a tier strategy in our environment. I'm going to explain this a little bit later better, but it actually handle data quality, data access control, and all the data governance features based on the trust of a table. But let's see how was our environment before Unity Catalog. As you can see by this diagram, we had multiple platforms. So as I said, we started with a single batch pipeline. We added intraday pipeline, CDC, Delta streaming directly from our transactional databases, self-size platform, many platforms that were actually creating and saving cataloging tables in our environment. And represented by those red circles, I don't know if you can see, we had a lot of locations that data can be storage, can be accessed, can be orchestrated, and that's when scaling our data, that's where scaling our data governance became hard because we needed to apply all of our data governance features replicated inside of each point of this. So let me show you the main data governance fields and show how was the situation before Unity Catalog in our environment. The first one regarding metadata management. Each platform that we created had its own GitHub repository. So we created metadata contracts in YAML files, and we applied inside of each data platform that we have, which was a GitHub repository. And along with these metadata contracts that needs to be filled by our users to describe the metadata content of our tables, columns, and so on, we also created scripts to validate how the user is filling this metadata contract. So we need to create these metadata constructs in YAML files and these scripts that validates this filament inside of each data platform. So we need to replicate it is. And we need these scripts to check things like the length descriptions of each column, the taxonomy that we have in our environment, labels, and so on. And our data governance team also needs to review some of these data governance requirements manually. Second, regarding data lineage. Our data lineage was also defined manually by our users. But different from metadata management that we had the same contract regarding metadata descriptions, data lineage, we reuse some configuration files of each platform that we created. On the other side, it was good because we are reusing something. But the other side, we created more dependencies for each platform. For example, some platforms had the feature to give the possibility to the user to define wiki dependencies. So sometimes it reflects not a total reality in our data lineage information. And lastly, regarding security, our data access control in our environment were defined by groups of users, roles in our environment, and S3 paths that represents the catalog table. So we needed to create a pattern that unifies Databricks users, clusters, and for each clusters we have a role in our cloud and to deliberate the access. It led us to have over 200 roles in our environment just to maintain this operation. So as you can see, all of this worked for us, but it was pretty hard to maintain, to scale, and even harder to secure our environment. Since we decided to use Unity Catalog as our central governance layer, we decided to migrate everything we had. We migrated over 18,000 catalog tables into Unity Catalog. And to do so, we created an internal project in our platform. And this project wasn't just a side project for us, it became a platform requirement. That means if a table wasn't cataloged inside of Unity Catalog at the end of this project, it wouldn't be able to be accessed by anyone inside of our company. So this migration process wasn't that complex for us, but it became a little bit hard because of the volume of the tables that we have, and also because we have multiple platforms creating and cataloging tables. We faced some pipelines that needed to be handled manual by our team, by us, but our business owners and stewards that we have implemented inside of our data lake environment helped us a lot, like a task force, to make this happen and migrate everything that was still useful for us. And I'm saying useful because since we are doing a migration that put all of these inside of Unity Catalog, we took the advantage to do a little bit of cleanup in our environment. And even though we have automatic system that purge and use data that I said before, we found some outdated process that were being using actually, but we were able to fix or to delete or to change. So it was a good way to do this migration process. And also, even though all of the features regarding Unity catalogs is helping us, we knew that Unity catalog wouldn't magically solve of our problems. And we need something at our side that connects with Unity Catalog with our multi-platforms. So we decided to create a single service at our side. It's like a software engineering method that we applied in our environment to connect with each data platform in our environment. So basically, this service receives all the metadata content and table information. We centralize in the database, and it connects to Unity Catalog. This pair of single service, our microservice with Unity Catalog, like became today a backbone of our strategy in our data governance team. So let's see how this movement changed our strategy. As you can see by this diagram, we didn't change our data platform. So we still have the same data platforms, the same data flows, multiple platforms creating and cataloging tables in our environment. But now we centralized all of our data governance features directly inside either of our services or directly into Unity Catalog, as you can see by these green circles inside of the icons. So let's go over again to each data management areas that we have and see how this movement changed our operations. So regarding metadata, we fully centralize metadata management inside of our service. That means all of that data contracts with the metadata descriptions that we have inside of each data platform, we moved inside of our service. So now we have a central database that contains all the metadata from each platform, and we are receiving these from our platform. So we connect with each data platform that we have. And also all the scripts that we have inside of each data platform, we moved inside of our service, and we've even increased the validations using AI. So some of our validations before needed to be done manually by our data governance team in each change of this metadata by our users. And now we are using AI to do this. And lastly, action two more. Regarding data lineage, our data lineage is now also fully automatically inferred by Databricks. So this was a huge win for us because we didn't have to do any kind of further configuration to extract the value of data lineage, just starting using Unity catalog in our environment. But because we already were running most of our process inside of Databricks. And now lastly, regarding security, we centralize it also inside of Databricks. So we sync our Databricks users to our group of users in our cloud, Azure AD, which is the official platform inside of Picpay for this. So we are saying the same language regarding users and groups of users. We registered all of our data inside of external locations, and we map all of our groups of users and permissions inside of Unit Access Layer. So this movement gave us some numbers and some results in each of these data management areas. Let's go over them. Starting with data security, we are able to solve one of our biggest challenge regarding data access, which was isolating data access in our environment. And we did that by leveraging external locations and unit access layer in our cloud, in our environment of data lake. This allowed us to reduce over 230 roles into a single unified model using external locations and unit access layer. Our previously role-based strategies were pretty fragmented in our environment. It was hard to maintain, to scale. We always needed to do some manual auditions just to check if everything was okay. For example, to maintain all of these roles, we had a lot of automation jobs to keep adding or removing access of tables to our users. And sometimes these automation jobs fails. One of these fails, we need to stop, to check what happened, to fix, to sometimes align something. And it was pretty time consuming for us, for our team. And these methods start to make us feel insecure and uncomfortable with this process. Now we centralize everything. First, we sync the group users with Azure AD, as I said before, so we are saying the same language. We registered our data into external locations of Unity catalog. This was pretty good for us because we had a lot of dependencies regarding regulatory requirements, compliance requirements, and we were able to do this at once because now it's a single place to manage this. And we also sync our central database that we have that maps groups of users and which tables they can use to unit access layer. So this central database, we still have this even before Unity catalog. And the process of sensitive data that I said before, the user needs to request, our privacy team needs to approve. But previously, to apply this access, we had all of those data jobs, automatic jobs that we had to maintain these roles. So we removed all of these roles and these jobs, and we just syncing this database with Unity catalog access layer. So it became pretty easier for us because now you have only one point on one location to maintain this data access. Another huge win for us was also starting using AI in our environment. We started using AI not only for our workflows inside of our data governance team, but also for our users, deliver intelligence assistance. So the first case that we started using AI regarding our data workflows was inside of our metadata management. As I said before, we have a lot of metadata validators that we centralize inside of our services because every time a user create a new table or change some table, it needs to go through a formalization process. Basically, it's a pull request in one of our platforms. So this pull request, the user needs to send us the code, the metadata. We validate it automatically using this service. So it's like in the CI/CD, it send a message to our service and we validate it. And we validated taxonomy, metadata descriptions, and so on. But before AI, our data governance team had to review over 50 pull requests every single day just to check if the descriptions of our table were good or not and to approve it or not. Now we started using AI of Databricks, using endpoints Llama to check the metadata descriptions, to understand the context of the table, and to approve it or not, and even suggest better descriptions of our table to our users. So our data governance team doesn't need to approve any more pull requests regarding data governance requirements. We also started exploring GenAI in our environment. So our data governance team was also responsible for corporate metrics, metrics such as TPV, monthly active users of our company. So we decided to deliver to them intelligence assistance so they could understand a little bit more about these numbers, about these business rules, and so on. We're still figuring how to deliver more value regarding intelligence assistant using data in our environment to our data users. But this assistant can answer questions like, how was the total paid value of last month? How many users created an account last year? And so on. But we understood that GenAI and intelligence assistant using data in our environment became even more powerful when the data is clean, classified, and well documented, as Unity Catalog is helping us. But we are not stopping here. We are currently working on our next data governance strategy called tier strategy. Basically, at Picpay today, we are facing a common problem where users don't know how much trust they can put in a data they are using. And sometimes our users use a table with a purpose that wasn't the same the table was created for. So we are creating data tiers in our environment. Basically, we are going to divide all of our tables in 4 groups, tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, and 4, that groups the tables that meets the same set of data governance requirements in our environment. That means, in the other words, that we are grouping tables that meets the same level of data governance maturity in our environment. And the idea behind that is not just to label this table so the users can see, oh, this is tier 4, 1, or 2, but also we are going to change how the data access will work regarding this data. Let's go over each tier, then I'm going to explain how it's going to work. The tier 4, which is the gray one there, is going to be the tier that has tables that only the owner define regarding data governance requirements. So no metadata, no party checks, nothing, only the owner. And these tables are mostly validation tables, temporary tables of the users, and they are going to be on this tier 4. So all tables inside of tier 4 will only be available to be accessed by the owner. So we're going to restrict the data access regarding these tables because we don't know much about them, just the owner. We don't know the contact, descriptions, and so on. The intermediate tiers, tier 2 and 3, we are going to start work like a marketplace. So there we have tables with metadata management, some quality checks, some documentation reviewed by AI, and so on. And all tables created inside of these tiers, we are going to give the access by default to the team that created that table. And if a table needs to be accessed by other team, we are going to start a marketplace. So this other team, we're going to request the access, the owner team will approve it or not, and we're going to have this sharing inside of our environment. And lastly, our top tier, which is the tier 1, is going to be our full governed tables. All the metadata contexts and requirements will be set inside of this tier. So we full governed tables, corporate metrics, golden metrics, and any critical process that uses tables inside of our data lake needs to consume tables inside of tier 1. So all of tables inside of this tier will be able to be accessed by anyone inside of Picpay. We hope that with this strategy, we can address the problem of trust so the users will know they are using tier 1, 2, or 3 table or tier 4 in our environment. And now we have a power in our hands that we can set which data governance requirements we understand that's necessary before the users share this data with other users inside of Picpay. We have been thinking about this strategy for over a year. But we couldn't just apply to the strategy that we are working right now this year before having a reliable data lineage. So that's one of the whys we first migrated to Unity Catalog, and after we started, created this strategy in our environment. And we needed a reliable data lineage in our environment because our tier classification is going to work checking its upstream dependency. So for example, if I have a table 4 in our environment, and someone is using this table 4 to create another one, this another one cannot be tier 2, 3, or 1, because it's using a tier 4. So this is the way we're going to ensure inside of this data governance strategy that we are going to check the quality, descriptions, the compliance, all of our data governance features, not only to that table specifically, but for all the tables upstreams in our environment. So with this strategy, uh, we are going to face some problems that we already know. For example, downgrading tiers. A tier that is a table tier 1 today, maybe tomorrow can become tier 2 or 3 because, for example, some quality issue. We are going to see how we are going to work with these problems. But this tier strategy became not only an initiative of data governance anymore. It became like a data strategy in our environment. So our data engineering platform, machine learning platform, and even third-party platforms, they are adapting and evolved to address this strategy in our environment. Before I hand over to Tadao, I would like to share you 3 key learnings that we learned inside of this journey to Unity Catalog and creating T strategy in our environment. The first one, in our case, the case of Picpay strategy and so on, centralized data governance unlocked the capability of scale our data governance strategy. The second, we started using AI as our partner to our users and also to our process. And lastly, we're still building this tier. So we just released the tier 4. We didn't have much problem with that, but we just released the tier 4 and we already saw some benefits regarding giving trusted data to our users. Thanks.
Great. So to finalize this presentation, we brought here one case of impact in the credit decision platform. So credit is key for any bank, right? Mainly in Brazil, that we have 5 banks for each customer, and we have to pursue for the right credit, right moment to our customers. So we position Databricks platform or data platform as uh, the main platform to support our decision credit platform, FICO, to provide this credit. So it's easy to understand why quality control, why timeless, why we should provide data with quality and with efficiency to create the credit model or to decide how to bring data from open finance and support better the credit decision. We cannot attribute 100% of the results only to this platform, of course, but we can say that two main benefits that we could achieve is operational efficiency. So the credit team is building better models, is testing faster, and is having better results because of the quality of the data and quality of the model, right? And we are able to test faster. So the credit team is deploying faster the models, is testing, is doing A/B tests or doing tests with different publics, right? And getting the result to us. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, so it's open. Or later, if we can find in the IO and talk. Thank you.